recommend going there.
If you ever see any stickers on my back, do me a favor and take them off. Malazines like to play pranks sometimes.
Come on, it's a rare opportunity. Let's go check it out.
Hey, Dia, you're back. Are these two friends of yours? Likewise. Anyway, since we've got newcomers, they've become extremely aggressive. They even attack other relics brigades, just the same as any other mercenary brigade.
Even the most ferocious beasts still protect their own. But it sounds like they've thrown that straight to the wind.
That's right. Once they've collected enough loot off the other mercenaries, they sell it off to a different brigade, or turn to merchants on the black market. A portion of their profits is immediately exchanged for more food and weaponry to be used in their next violent operation.
That's terrible!
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder why they're so desperate for Mora. A few days ago, Isham and I trailed them for a while, and even disguised ourselves as merchants to conduct trade with them. We were able to learn a few things from the exchange. Rather than saying they're out to plunder and hoard Mora, it'd probably be more accurate to say that they're experiencing an internal power struggle.
Wait, a power struggle?
You heard me right. The vast majority of their victims are mercenaries from the other brigades of Deshret's relics. If their only goal was Mora, they could have gone after anybody. The targeted nature of their attacks points to a power struggle between the different brigades within the relics. That's the only plausible explanation we have. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find out anything more specific. It seems they're also trying to keep things under wraps. Oh, one last thing we discovered was that over the past few years, as Dakan al-Ahmar became more and more active, Deshret's relics as a whole became a lot weaker.
It sounds mighty strange to me, too. I gotta say, though, I didn't expect you to go on a whole undercover mission during the...
Nah, it was nothing. We're just as concerned about the situation.
What he said. Besides, Dia, haven't you done more dangerous things than all of us combined? What we did is nothing compared to your experience.
Yeah. And while they went to talk with Dakan al-Akmar, I took a look at the last camp they attacked. Any survivors of the attack were already long gone.
Ah, Hisham and Khalaf.
We rushed over as soon as we saw you come into Caravan Reba. Although this new friend of yours looks a little green behind the ears, now that we know you'll have a capable partner.
Hey, what about
You're also...
Of course! Paimon is the Traveler's most important guy.
Oh, in that case, then you'd better take care of her too.
Don't worry about her. She may look tiny and helpless, but she's been through just as many battles as the Traveler here. Even if she had only survived on sheer luck, then that alone would still make her quite formidable.
I had no idea.
Oh, one other thing, Dia. When you're free, why don't you update the deputy about your... We held another recruitment event a few days ago, but everyone only came to see the Flame Main. You weren't around at the time, so people were pretty disappointed to only find our crew of rough, unkempt guys. The deputy put a lot of effort into the event, but it was basically for nothing.
Sorry to hear that. I'll be sure to bring him some great liquor next time.
Gotta admit, I can understand their disappointment, though. Now, if only the deputy could figure out a way to bring a few more smoking hot members into our...
Keep dreaming. Remember the last time I invited a couple gals into the brigade? You all just froze up with your mouths. The awkward silence and weird expressions left quite the impression on them. They were originally interested in joining us.
Hey, didn't we agree to never bring that up?
Huh? Wait, are you serious? Why have I never...
I don't think you were part of the brigade.
Are you kidding me? I missed a once-in-a-lifetime moment like that and you...
All right. We can...
Hey, don't you try to change the subject. You and Hisham get your butts over here.
Are they...
There aren't many rules or graces when it comes to mercenaries. If someone starts getting under your skin, you just yell right back at them. And if that doesn't put an end to it, then you just challenge them to a fight. But we also don't tend to take many things too seriously. Being direct and getting it all out of your system as soon as things come up, that's also why I never spare their feelings when I talk to them. If I want to laugh, I'll laugh. If I'm angry, then I'll unload on them. It's hard to stop once you get used to it. Though, I can never do that when... Hey, knuckleheads! Can you at least tell me the rest of the intel before you...
Yeah, you hear her, Holof? Told you we gotta focus on the investigation. All you gotta do is wait and ambush them.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Be sure to pass my regard.
Will do. You stay safe, dear.
Travelers and visitors, don't miss out.
This should be the place. Let's find... It's gonna come down to a fight one way or another, so let's all be careful.
No need to worry. She knows.
I'm not worried about that. What I meant is that we... Ah, here they come. You ready? Let's not give them a chance to... Look alive! Hi! Hi!
Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going?
Buckle up!
A moment, please. You're...
Good. That saves me an introduction. All right, time for a little...
You know the code of being a mercenary just like everyone else. The first rule is...
That might have worked on an amateur. Think about it, though. What's your reputation worth if you won't have the other tools you need to succeed? You've got 5 seconds. You might want to think twice about how much your employer's information is worth to you.
Whoa!
I'm not joking around. We can do this the easy way or the painful way. 2 seconds!
I'll save you the trouble.
Huh? Are you crazy? He tried to bite off his own tongue. Quick, search the area for... I definitely didn't expect him to go that far.
But what?
I just wanted to test his mettle. You can get a lot of mercenaries. I didn't expect him to be willing to go through so much pain.
Well, he's out cold for now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be a waste of time to interrogate him again after that. There are lots of goods around here.
We found a piece of paper with a bunch of names on it.
Let me take a look. If this really is a merchant yep. I see an entry for Dakana Lakmar right here. Kusela, Idrisi, Bashar, and Takriti. All familiar names. Dakana Lakmar has been trading. This caravan is just one link in their logistics chain. Once in the rainforest, the caravan will exchange the looted goods. That person will then pack the caravan full of necessary goods. Wait, why is there no Mora value? Yeah, every transaction before the last one was marked with an exact amount of Mora, but the final one, where they paid for everything to be brought back to the desert, was perhaps. But they couldn't have known how much they would make off selling the loot. Anyway, the next part's the records of the goods themselves. There are a lot of entries. Everything was probably sourced from... Huh?
What's wrong?
Shazamon Homayani.
Homayani?
I'd be surprised to find someone with the exact same first and last name. Just what the heck is going on here? I'm sorry, you're right. But what this piece of paper confirms is that
What if the Homayanis have been kept in the dark?
That's a possibility. But if that was the case, why is this caravan specifically named Shazamon as their... They could have just as easily bought goods such as food and medicine directly from Caravan Rebat or Port Ormos. Yeah, funding violence and looting. The brigade...
But...
I've been to their estate many times. The only potentially large expenditure I could think of would be the treatment... But that's still just a speculation. I don't think the master would stoop so low to make Mora. You're probably right. I know my lady's personality.
But what should we do now? All we found is...
If you ask me, I'm not worried. It's too early to make a verdict yet. Let's go find my lady again. If we're lucky, we can not only figure out the mystery...
Dia, are you sure this is the best decision?
I've considered that possibility. But even still... I want to tell her what we found. She showed genuine concern for me when we first brought up the topic. That's not how I deal with people.
You're right. Paimon wants to trust in...
Yeah.
Your theory is just putting the cart...
We're back, my lady.
Oh, you're back a lot sooner than I expected. You mustn't have run into any trouble then.
Actually, we're still investigating. It's just...
I see. The clues you...
Something like that.
You all look a little... dispirited. Why don't you discuss it with me? Maybe I'll be able to say something to cheer you up.
It's okay, my lady. It's not so much about me being upset with my father or anything like that. How should I put this?
So something is wrong. Even the Traveler and Paimon have been uncharacteristically quiet. On any other day, Paimon would have already waved to me with a smile and shouted, "Dunyarzad, we're back!" So tell me, what happened?
Well?
My lady, please prepare yourself for what we're going to tell you next. It concerns the Master.
The Master? You mean my father? Okay, I understand. Don't worry about me. I'll listen as attentively as I can. My father has been...
Yeah, it makes as little sense. I've never doubted the Master's integrity. Maybe he's not actually aware of the full story and just stumbled into the deal by accident.
I can't help but agree with the
Huh? You mean
Thank you for sharing. Since you've told me everything you know, in the past, I thought that my father... However, there are plenty of capable mercenaries in the court.
About that. Well, the Homayanis really needed bodyguards, so later, the Master told me that I was one of the best mercenaries he'd ever seen, and that I should stick around to become one of... He offered me a pile of Mora, so...
Well, but that didn't really answer my question.
Maybe the Corps of 30 just didn't have anyone available, or... I think I get what you're saying. You'd think none...
Precisely. At first glance, nothing seemed strange or out of place. If my father had always been in contact with Dekan al-Akmar, then it would make sense for him to bring Dia into our house.
You mean the goal all along was to get Dia to be your bodyguard?
No, that's too much of a stretch. I cut all ties with my father a long time ago. He has no control over my life anymore.
But that still doesn't rule out the possibility that your father has still been trying to influence your life without you knowing.
So, the Master was not likely an innocent victim in all of this?
Sorry we put all this on you so suddenly, Dunyarzad.
It's okay, Paimon. I should actually be thanking you. Regardless of his reasons, if my father has truly been funding a violent group of mercenaries, then it's my duty to bring him back to reason.
But is that... My father has committed many atrocities and deserves all the punishment that he has coming to him. However, if we decide to investigate this further, we could end up implicating the entire Homayani family. I would be biting the hand that's fed me over all these years.
Dia...
It's all right, Dia. If anyone were to ask, you could always just say that I'm the one who instructed you to get to the bottom of this.
You don't have to do that, my lady. I'm not conflicted because I'm afraid of taking responsibility. Besides, you're the one we should all be worried about right now.
Hey! It's still too early to give up hope! What was the thing about... Right, yeah, trust! You said that yourself! Besides, there's no point on getting all riled up before we've confirmed all the facts!
Thank you, everyone. That makes a lot of sense. I guess I should always remember the trust that I've placed in people. In which case, my lady, could you ask the Master to come out and have a chat with us?
Sure thing. I also hope he'll be able to give us a logical explanation. Let's meet at the usual place then.
Usual place? Ah, right!
Thank you for coming, sir. Please allow me to introduce these two. This is the Traveler, and next to her is her travel companion, Paimon.
Ah, yes, my daughter has mentioned them from time to time. It's a privilege to finally meet them in person. But we may skip all the pleasantries for now. What is the important matter you wish to discuss with me today?
Well, we wanted to bring this transaction record to your attention. There's something on this record that we're all pretty curious about.
So, that's what you found. Huh. Seems like I can't keep everything from you much longer.
If you wouldn't mind, we'd like an explanation.
Well, it's a long and difficult story. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. What I do know, though, Dia, is that the truth will bring you no solace. If anything, it will likely cause you a great amount of anguish.
Wait, me?
Yes, I understand perfectly why you came to see me, and I am touched by your collective commitment to do the right thing. But knowledge always comes at a price, and sometimes, as they say, ignorance is bliss. Your father, Kusela, and I both believed that. Of course, you have the right to seek and learn the truth, but I must warn you. The facts of this matter may reduce everything you've built for yourself into sand, blowing in the wind. If you must proceed, then Kusela's heartfelt efforts will also fade into the wind like a fleeting mirage.
His heartfelt efforts? I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not sure I follow. I've made it this far in life without a single drop of my father's support. I have my own ideals and ways of looking at the world, as well as people and causes that I've chosen to cherish and fight for. None of these things have anything to do with him. I came here today to support you as the head of the Homayani family. No warning will change my stance on that.
I understand. Then let me tell you a little story. Our family once needed to take a trip to the desert when Dunyarzad was just a baby. Along the way, we were attacked by bandits. They had superior numbers and quickly overpowered our bodyguards. When all seemed lost, a group of passerby Eremites lent us their support. Those Eremites were Kusela's brigade, Dekan al-Ahmar. Kusela's men told me that the attackers were Eremite mercenaries, just like themselves. I was shocked. Why would Dekan al-Ahmar go so far to save us and not spare the fellow Eremites? Kusela was grinning and walked over to play with baby Dunyarzad. She was startled by his unfamiliar face and nearly started crying.
Really? I never knew.
He said that he had no particular reason to help us. He just took pity on us because he had a daughter about the same age. We started talking about our children, and I sensed that he was a devoted father. To repay his kindness, I hired his brigade to help out at our estate for a time, and offered everyone generous remuneration.
So, that's what happened.
It was many years before I saw him again. I almost didn't recognize him the next time he came knocking on my door. The man I knew to be strong and healthy had been reduced to a shell of himself. He couldn't even walk anymore without his cane.
So, what happened to him? He was perfectly fine when I left the brigade.
I'm not too sure myself. The only thing that didn't change was his cheery disposition. He said there was absolutely nothing to worry about and that he had gotten into a fight. That was all. He then suddenly asked me if Dunyarzad, now that she had grown, would need a bodyguard of her own. At the time, Dunyarzad was going through a particularly severe bout of her Elazar. There was no need for her to have a bodyguard when she could barely leave the house. But he kept coming back to the topic. Come on, it never hurts to be safe. How do you know a bodyguard won't come in handy one day? I was completely lost at first, until he recommended the Blazing Beasts, and in particular, a mercenary named Dia.
So he was the the one who recommended Dia to you.
Indeed. He didn't say it out loud, but it was clear that he saw Deshret's relics as an evil group who would eventually corrupt every member in their ranks. He was already beyond redemption, but he hoped that he would be able to detach his daughter from the vicious world of mercenary life. If Dia could stay in my house and keep working as a bodyguard, then gradually her affinity for the desert would decrease, and she'd be able to leave her previous life behind.
And that's why you offered her such generous compensation?
Yes, but not just because of that. From the moment that he asked me for that favor, I also began to see Dia as my own daughter. And that's also why I tried to persuade you to stay when you asked for permission to leave. I was willing to spend however much it took. Kusela saved my daughter and me all those years ago in the desert. I could never refuse him entrusting his daughter to me.
He was always like that, acting like he's oh so smart and self-righteous.
Kusela said that he'd reimburse me for a portion of Dia's fees. I refused to take any mora from him, but he'd always sent me funds anyway. Eventually, I just accepted them as a token of his gratitude. And the letter contained a request to help him buy food, weapons, medicine, and even explosive materials.
Wait! Isn't that around the time that Dekan al-Ahmar started becoming—
That's right. When I started to hear some nasty rumors, I became wary. But by then, he was no longer receptive to my requests to talk. If I had to guess, it's that thought occurred to me as well. After some deliberation, I decided to send him some food. I am aware that even such a reduced gesture of support could lead to others coming to harm, but in the end, it probably was the wrong decision.
If you can, please tell me. None of the things he's doing right now make any sense if he's just trying to keep me. If all he wants to do is steer clear of me, then maybe he shouldn't have brought me into this world in the—
Oh no,
I'm just angry because I can't wrap my head around any of his actions. I don't know. I really don't know. But I guess you do have a point.
I'll do my best to help. Of course, anything between the two of you would need to be resolved between you and him alone. I don't know Kusela's exact whereabouts. Outside of supplying his brigade, however, there's a man on the list named Jawed. He used to be a mercenary in the desert and is now a member of the Corps of 30. He's responsible for supplying weapons and liaising with the Dekan al-Ahmar's merchant caravan. I think he should know Kusela's whereabouts. I've heard that he likes to have a few drinks alone.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Then
I'll stay and be with my father here. To be honest, I'm still a little dazed and haven't finished processing everything quite yet. My father has indeed done something wrong, but if I think about it, I'm also not sure if there was a right way to handle this problem. I feel like our only course of action is to turn everything we know over to the Corps of 30 and let them render judgment.
Yes. I am prepared to accept whatever verdict they choose. It's time to face my mistakes.
Huh?
I know what you've been up to. Smuggling.
Shh! Keep your voice down. Come with me. We should take this elsewhere. This place should do. All right. Back to my question. How did you all know about me?
Don't worry about that for now. You know what kind of punishment you'll face once we report you to the Corps, I assume.
Wait. There's no need to jump the gun.
So what's in it for you anyway, Mora?
Well, I was a little tight on money at the time, and Kusela took good care of me in the past. I weighed it in my mind, and I couldn't find a reason to turn the opportunity down. I wouldn't only be helping my benefactor, but I...
Let me tell you how it is. We're investigating Decana. If you provide some help for us, then we might just...
Hey, why don't we discuss this a little first? Listen, I made quite...
Shut it. My patience is running out. You should know when a mercenary is after something other than money.
All right, sheesh. They're always on the move. Here's the spot. Feel free to go have a look.
Sure. And then you can forget about any night...
Hey, come on. Now you're just...
Really? And how do I know you're not leading us straight into...
All right, I get it. Why don't you go take a look, and if they're not there anymore...
Now that's more like it. Let's move. And as for you, try to stick around the city until we get back. You don't want us to call the folks from the Corps and have them drag you back to the city. Seems like we're in luck. Let's go. We'll finally get to the bottom of this ourselves. I'm here to see Kusela. Tell him to get out here.
Dear, why are you here?
This could get a little chilly. Don't run away now. Let's begin. Supporting fire!
Let's get it on!
Don't run away now.
Haven't you all done enough?
Oh, so are you also here to stop us?
Stay out of this. It's got nothing to do with you.
Buckle up!
A moment, please. Stay cool and face your guilt.
Let's get it on!
Let's begin.
Cha! Ha! Your mommy teach you that. You're dead meat!
A moment, please.
She's so strong.
Enough fighting. We all know each. Just bring Kusela to me. Did you understand a single word I just said?
All right, everyone, let's all... Dia, he died. Along...
What?
Seems like you've been out of the loop for a while. Guess that's for the best, though.
When did he die? What happened?
A few years ago, Kusela broke up Dakan al-Ahmar and went to the Deshret's Relics headquarters by himself.
So is that when you guys started out?
We would prefer to call it taking revenge. Every last person in Deshret's...
Let me start from the beginning. Dia, do you...
Overwhelming strength and unquestionable...
Those were a part of it, yes. But just those on their own weren't enough, regardless of whether they joined by their own will or were coerced. Every person in Deshret's relics were forced to leave a record of whether it be their deepest sin, some unforgivable act, or their most immoral exploit. The record served both as a symbol of loyalty and the perfect material. That's precisely it. Every one of us have a record. But you, Dia.
I never even knew.
You were probably the only person in all of Deshret's
Ever since you were born, Boss had been trying to shield you from not only that, but he also banned all of us from committing any nefarious acts. He said he'd take care of the dues we had to pay regularly. But in the end, he was just an ordinary... He was forced to go to headquarters again and again to account for missed dues and incomplete records. He'd come up with all kinds of excuses and get beat.
We all knew he was doing that for you.
And that's why he became a
Wait, but that doesn't make any sense.
Because you were too young at the time. How would you ever tell between wounds from a beating and wounds from battle? When you left home after that final argument with him, he seemed to age by a decade overnight.
So, even the blazing...
Yep. It was all his doing. Had he not arranged them to come to you?
A few years ago, Boss said he needed to make another trip to headquarters. He was already pretty weak then. I suggested that he hand the role of leadership over to me, but he said there was no longer any need. His words made no sense to me. But that night, we heard that a massive fire tore through headquarters and razed everyone's records to...
Everyone gained their freedom that night. Many members fled, not just from our ranks, but how could we leave with a clear conscience? All of us who knew...
The boss can't have just died for nothing. Those heartless jerks.
From that point on, the big fire that Boss started was quite a blow to headquarters' strength. Even though we're outnumbered, we vowed to see our revenge. There were people from headquarters who changed their names and went into hiding. But we won't let any of them escape our...
We've suffered plenty of losses. All we can do is exchange our loot from Mora, and then use that to... We forged Boss's handwriting and sent out many letters to his former friends. We were also able to attract many mercenaries who shared our goal. Deshret's relics have become weaker and weaker, and now...
Paimon doesn't know what to say anymore.
We do know right from wrong, but we were sinners from the very beginning. Boss always loved his old-fashioned hero stories. We used to always laugh at him for it. As for me, I never considered... But maybe we were all just... I'm sorry, Dia. I know you always found us insufferable ever since you were young. Just think of this...
I'll go with...
Huh? Dia?
I grew up with these guys, and I know they're not bad people. All I know is that Deshret... Furthermore, I want to go see the place for myself. I know you don't want to get involved in this, so there's no need for you to tag along. I can do this on my own.
Yeah, Paimon feels like we...
Thank you. We'll be a lot stronger...
I bet Boss would lose his mind if he ever knew you'd join us at the very last moment like...
Considering all the losses and injuries we sustained, we can't afford to turn...
He can think whatever he wants, but the fact is...
We sure didn't run into much trouble on the way here.
Perhaps we could take a walk by a riverbank or somewhere similarly fluvial.
Wow. Paimon didn't expect—
They should all be holed up in here. Don't know how many—
Who cares? We'll round up.
Still, we should be careful. Even if they've only got one shot left, it could still take us out.
Yeah, we'll know what they're really capable of once we've landed. Deshret's relics may have been a force to be reckoned with before.
Yeah, they don't—
Happy to apply.
Buckle up!
Bow your head.
I'll be back.
How heartless.
Silence! The tides beckon.
Here's Becca!
Hey! Look alive! Ha!
Settle down!
Need more. I'll take my leave. I'll take my leave.
Silence!
Buckle up!
You want this?
Gloves off!
Bow your head.
You want this one?
Justice is blind. Let the mighty be humbled.
This way, follow me. We're almost there.
Wait! They went charging ahead without checking for any—
Hey, you guys okay?
It seems like we just got
Watch out, the enemy's coming from ahead.
Well, now that things have come to this—
Don't worry about us. We knew something like this. Let's go! We can't let the boss—
Let's check if there's another way! The sooner we—
Let's see. I think I see a way through over there, but it's being blocked.
Okay, let's—
Let's get—
Settle down.
Absorption test. Animal hypostasis—
Ah! Kyah!
Silence.
Another mechanism like the one before. But this one's being blocked off in the middle.
We just need to adjust it a little.
Bow your head.
Look alive!
Animo test 63. Hi!
Be sanctified. Silence!
Let's get it on! You asked for it.
Bow your head. Let the mighty be humbled.
Look alive! Huh, huh.
I wasn't expecting anyone to make it through, but as a desert dweller, I suppose we
Don't waste your breath.
run. Had I wanted to run, I witnessed the golden age of Deshret's relics. Even if I could, even now, the greatest should never live to
So you want to go out in a blaze?
Let us draw our weapons! They are but two, while we hold within ourselves the entirety of the relic's glory. Wave one, charge! Eliminate them!
I got you covered!
Buckle up!
Stand clear. Absorption test.
Settle down.
Don't think that you've won. We're just getting started.
Now you're testing my patience.
The risk is...
Check this out!
Gloves off!
King Deshret will not abandon any one of his followers.
Look alive!
Animo test 6308. Swirl, Mark
Now
2.
you're testing my patience.
Silence!
Will.
Let the mighty be humbled.
I'm getting sick of this game.
Huh. Brothers! With me, this is where we'll prove our faith.
Do you all just want to die?
None of us plan to leave this place alive!
Raise the storm!
Your sacrifice is ready.
Where do you think
You're go.
Ready, steady, go! Stand clear. Animal hypostasis.
Pound it to the ground!
You asked for it. Look alive! Ha! But we'll meet again.
Animal test 63.
Bow your head.
The golden slumber.
The commander is finally fall.
But they're still coming in. This place is like a gladiator's ring.
Yes! Keep fighting!
When the next wave comes, try to. I'm going to see if I can take.
Get out of my way!
Come and face me, Michel! Ugh, so they've broke.
Apologies, Lord Michal. They fight like absolute madmen. No matter how much we throw at them, they...
So, it would.
Time to pay for everything.
You think I will be buried in the sand?
Hey, wait!
We were too late.
It's over. There's no. But if you're still going to cling on to your so-called mercenary.
Hey, Dia! I found the mechanism. I'll get you all back up here right away.
Let's go.
Who are you filthy rats? And why are you always pestering us?
You call yourself a member of the infamous Deshret's relics?
Who knows what intent a bunch of rats may have? We try to catch a couple, and you all just show up on the other side instead. How are we Hey, have you ever heard of a man by the name of Kusei? Why would I know? It's not like I'm in charge.
This is your last chance.
Hey, I said I don't know anything. I'm just an average member. If you're here to find someone, why don't you look through the records yourselves? Who can remember every name and face with so many people?
The irony. His life became a light for so many, yet to others. Where's the records room?
It's right over there. All the files are in there.
I mean the
old records room? Kusela. Ah, yeah. Watch your mouth. He was definitely faking it. We all let our guard down as soon, but in the short time it supposedly took him to take a dump, he'd already gotten away. He couldn't have possibly outrun us. And after that, Deshret's relic.
Stop wasting our time. Tell me, where is...
It's just over there. Go see it. There's nothing left in there but ashes. No human. Bashar, Tikriti, let's go. We'll leave the others here to guard. Spare them no mercy if they try.
So, this was his final destination. How did he do it? Getting past all the... If he was nimble enough to do that, then he must...
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know it's...
Is this a cane?
Kusela.
Thanks for everything, boss.
We're fortunate to somehow find that cane after that fire.
Let's split up and look around some more.
But what else could survive a fire like that?
Huh? Thought so.
Wait! Isn't that the toy sword you played with as a child?
The dragon is no more, for Princess Dia has slain it. Its head now hangs above the city gates. Her bravery has brought eternal peace and prosperity to us all. Dia, come on. This is the most important line.
You can do it.
But Dia, you defeated the dragon. Everyone's waiting for your speech. Still too shy, huh? All right, I'll do it. I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more.
Yeah!
I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more, Dad. What's this?
Don't you remember? You asked Paimon what she would do if she were to wake up tomorrow, and Paimon said that she would get boatloads of tasty... These opportunities don't come by often. So today, Paimon's gonna treat you to a special crash course on Paimon's life philosophy. Hey, come on! Anyway, the point is that you should eat to your heart's content. Junior Zad will also be here.
Aw, thanks, you two. Honestly, my chest was filled with all kinds of intense emotion, but when everything came to an end, those emotions also vanished. It was as if I'd lost the thing that was most important to me. Yeah, you're right. To many mercenaries, Mora is the most important thing in the world. Idrisi and the others all used to say that they would quit if there was no Mora to be had. But my reality shattered when I found out that the father who always told me hero stories was in fact a bad guy. Despite all my promises about never forgiving him and never trying to understand him, I still went to such lengths to find out the truth. And nearly even... We're hypocrites. All of us. Yeah, you're right. It's just a pity that we often only recognize our true feelings.
You're back! Are all of you all right?
Ah, there she is.
Yeah. Many people from the Corps of 30 came over, and I just wrapped up everything with my dad. All I can do now is... Huh?
Paimon will explain. A lot happened while we were gone.
I'm sorry. I really
It's all right, my lady. You were hurt by all of this as well.
Dia...
Hey, don't worry about me. If anything, this whole thing is... My father probably thought that people could settle into new lives as long as they moved to a new environment. That thought has even crossed my mind a few times. It's like saying, what's wrong with adapting to a new life? However, there was always something deep within my mind that refused to accept it. This impulse brought me great turmoil, and even made me feel ashamed for turning my back. But now that I consider it again, it all makes sense.
I understand how you...
That doesn't mean I won't be making any changes to my life, though. It's just like Idrisi said. I also want to catch up to my father and become a... Even if the ending of the story may be childish and ridiculous, it won't really matter.
Isn't that neat, though? Oh, you'll be a whole new kind of mercenary. Why don't we go for a change of scenery once we
Right. You said you wanted to get...
We'll come along, too.
I can't thank you enough for taking care of me this...
Oh, this rug here is...
Ah, here you are. Finally, I found you.
Hey! Aren't you that mercenary who bit his tongue? Wait, are you...
What are you talking about? Do I look like I could take you all in a fight? I just came here to give you something. I'll be on my way to give myself up to the Corps after this. Once I woke up, I hurried to the Khan al-Ahmar's camp. But when I got there, I found no one except the members who were still too injured to move.
Ah, so you probably...
Yeah, they told me that they had exacted their revenge, and everyone had... I had joined the cause to repay an old favor from Kusela. Now that everyone's already turned themselves in, one of the injured members gave this box to me, and told everything left in the camp will get confiscated, so I figured...
Thank you.
No worries. We are all just living our own truths. There's no need to comment or...
So this box contains everything that Dia's...
Well, back in the day, the first thing he did with any moral... But let's see what's... What's this? It's just a bunch of junk.
Ugh. Perhaps it's just...
A handwritten copy of a storybook. The paper's already... It was against the Academia's rules to possess books for personal use. If you...
That probably means this was real...
Ah, and here are a few bags of children's snacks. The packaging's completely deteriorated.
Did he get those for you?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Even when I was a child, I was never a fan of these kinds of snacks. Who even leaves snacks in a box like this? Forget it. Let me see what else is in here. A razor, some buttons, a wool scarf, which, from the looks of it, probably belonged to a woman, and a hair clip? I'm sorry, my lady, but this is just the kind of man he was. He two empty liquor bottles. Tell me, you guys, are these the kinds of things that are...
Huh? There's some...
Oh, you're right. All right, I got it out. It seems to be a piece of paper with some writing on it. The bottom part's all damaged from moisture, though. Let's hope the writing didn't smudge. I was suddenly seized with an urge to write a letter after finishing this bottle. I just folded it up and left it in the bottle, though. If I end up to Dia... It's all right. I'll just read it out. If you went to the trouble of writing...
My condition's becoming worse and worse. Can't even walk without a cane anymore, much less go out. If you're reading this letter, then I suppose I'm already lost. You were adorable as a baby. Everyone loved you. And regardless of whether you were crying or... But once you grew a bit older, you were no longer nearly as happy or cute. It's probably...
Can you believe this guy? He can point the finger at himself.
Anyway, back to the point. To summarize, I'm writing this so you would know not to feel sad for me, even if you end up finding out the truth. The reason being that... I was never your father to begin with.
Wait, what?
Surely,
I was quite formidable when I was young, and 100 times cooler. Really felt like the whole world was under my feet, with just a teeny tiny bit of effort. But as fate would have it, I went out into the desert for a drink one day. You were just lying there, small and helpless. You were so tiny that if the wind blew for just a little while longer, you would... But your cries were so loud they made my head hurt. Now that I told Idrisi and the others that I had slipped up with a woman while out and about. None of them... I'm sorry that I had to lie to them for so long, but I was their most esteemed leader after all. It's not like I did just... At this rate, I'll puke up all the liquor I just drank from this bottle. Anyway, you possess the kind of freedom and kindness that we could only dream of. As far as how you should live your life, that'll be up to you to decide.
That's the end. In the end, he was still thinking of me as a little child, I suppose, or I would have suffocated under the...
He was a good father to you. The fact that he...
Yeah. It's just a pity that we had to learn the truth of everything like this.
Do you already have some ideas about...
I do. If he first found... I just have one wish. That there once existed a childish and foolish jerk with a heart of gold, and that only under his care was I able to grow and mature.
If you end up finding any leads, can you share them with us?
Sure, I appreciate it. I wasn't...
I'll help too.
Thank you. My life has certainly had its... Because no matter where I've gone, I've always been surrounded by...